Hello, time for something a bit different. No gameplay in the screen behind me because this isn't a video game related video. So if you're one of those people who isn't interested in anything that I do or have got to say about anything other than gaming, stop watching now because this won't interest you, and I can't be bothered with any of that "I didn't subscribe for this" nonsense. I won't be responding to any comments like that. So, what is this video about? I have mentioned in the past that I do have another hobby, and that is photography, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that here. This isn't going to be a regular thing, it's a one-off, and I'm doing it for a purpose which I'll explain later. Yes, I've been into photography since I was a kid, really. I got given an SLR film camera by my dad it was Christmas 1977. I was in hospital with having had my appendix out on Christmas Eve. Anyway, he gave me this camera that was very cool and I had no idea how to use. It was more camera than a 9-year-old child should be entrusted with without adequate instruction, which I didn't get because I don't know if my dad knew how to actually use an SLR camera properly, but if he did, he didn't tell me how, even though I did ask. Anyway, it did get me interested in photography. And for a huge chunk of the rest of my life, I've dabbled in photography. Again, not knowing what I was doing. I didn't know... I knew things like aperture settings and shutter speeds existed for a purpose, but I didn't know what they were. As far as I was concerned, they were all about controlling exposure and nothing else. Yeah, wrong. Anyway, as some of you will know, a couple of years ago I started doing a photography degree course, and I got a little way into it, but then I had to ditch it because my marriage fell apart and I moved out and moved into this place, and the money that was going on to that course and stuff pays the rent basically. Couldn't afford it, also didn't have time anymore. So the course went out the window. Now a thing about that, I did learn some very useful stuff on that course in terms of how to construct photographs, how to control the camera, what the controls on the camera did. It's not all just about controlling exposure, it's about representing movement, it's about depth of field, and that's important stuff to know and very useful. But this course wasn't it wasn't a technical course. While it did teach the basics, it wasn't all about f-stops and thousandths of a second, blah blah blah. It was about composition and conveying a message. It was about creating art. While it was a photography course, it was art photography, and it was far more about art than it was about photography. Photography was just the medium that we were using to make art, or being taught how to make art. Now, I did get frustrated by it, and in the end, when I dropped the course, I was very relieved, because to my mind, a great deal of what I was reading was bullshit. I think a great deal of art is bullshit. There is this thing, it's like do a thing for a reason that you're not necessarily sure what the reason is, you just like doing it that way, and then come up with a really convoluted, detailed, intelligent sounding explanation for why you did it. But you do that after you did it. It's bullshit, and there was so much bullshit, and I was wading through it, and I had to write essays on bullshit, as in I had to write bullshit, this is why this, and I'm thinking that's not why that's bullshit, but I've got to write it because that's the accepted explanation, and it aggravated me massively. And there was this thing that was constantly impressed on us: we had to find our own voice. The thing with photography is it's all been done before. As an artistic medium, it's been around for over 100 years. Everything you could photograph, it's been photographed pretty much. I mean, okay, that pebble over there might not have been photographed when that one over there has, but You know what I mean? It's all been done. So the trick is doing something that someone else hasn't done already if you want to be deemed valid and legitimate and original and a real artist. And it's like, it's reached a point where to do something someone else hasn't done before, you've got to do something, well, something I would probably look at and think that's bullshit. So when I dropped the course, for a very long time I didn't pick up the camera again. I was done. You know, it had destroyed my joy of photography, and I just didn't give a shit for a while. I knew I was going to pick it up again, but for quite a long while the only photos I took with my phone. It was opportunistic, happy, well, not happy snaps, they were, I would see a thing, think that's really cool, I want a photo of that, a view, a juxtaposition of this object and that object, something like that. And I would just take a shot with my phone because it was just opportunistic. But I've got my mojo back, and I have had a, I'm not going to call it an epiphany. I've reached a point where I'm like, I don't care about the bullshit. I don't care about being considered valid or legitimate or contemporary or derivative or any of that. Do not give a crap. Not trying to get a degree anymore, not trying to impress a tutor, not trying to impress anyone, trying to make photos that I like. And I have discovered there is a certain thing that I started doing while I was on the photography course, that it was just one aspect. I would go out with objectives, with tasks, goals, whatever that I had to do for the course, and while I was trying to fulfill that, I was taking photographs in a certain way, on instinct. It was the way I like to look at things that I found interesting, and I look at the photographs later and those are the ones that stand out to me. And I realised this last week when I picked up my camera for the first time in ages, because the weather was nice. It was a week ago today, in fact. The weather was nice. I thought, it's too nice to stay indoors. I want to go out there. I haven't really got a reason to go out. I don't need to go shopping. I don't want to just wander around town for the sake of wandering around town, because town is kind of crap around here. It's a dump. It really is. It is sort of if you're just there for the sake of being there, it's depressing. But what it also is full of urban decay. Things are falling apart. It's run down. It's falling apart, and in a visual sense that makes it really interesting. So, good weather, good light, stuff falling apart, camera. Grabbed my camera, went for a walk, took lots of photos, and while I was doing that realised, yeah, I'm doing that thing again that I did before, and I'm really enjoying it. And I took a ton of photos, and I brought them back, and some of the ones that I thought would be great weren't, and some of the ones that I thought wouldn't be were, and some of the ones that I thought wouldn't be and weren't when they were in colour were when I converted them to black and white. So photos, got lots. Which brings me on to the point of this video now. I'm gonna show you some photos, and what this is it's a showcase for my Instagram page. I've been on Instagram for a few years, and mostly it's just been uploads from my phone where I've taken an opportunistic picture and put it through a filter and it looks alright, and I've actually deleted a ton of that. I put up some stuff that's been there a while actually, that I uploaded when I was doing my course, and you sort of see the learning process a bit. You'll see a development between the older stuff and the newer stuff, and some of the stuff you can see I've got a proper camera and the quality of the shots is good, but they're not strictly speaking good art. And then you'll see a change. There's some stuff in Workshop which is different, you can if you look at how they're constructed, you'll see they're different, and that's where I've started doing what it is I'm doing. Then it shifts to some stuff in Sheffield, where again I'm doing that thing, but the quality of the images is slightly different. And these are old shots. These are ones where I started doing my thing while I was still on the course, and I forgot I'd got them. They were on my phone. They've been there for ages now. I hadn't looked at them in ages, and I forgot they were there. So after I'd uploaded the shots of Worksop, I'm in the process of uploading the shots of Sheffield. When I've done those, and I'm uploading them in batches of 2 or 3, maybe twice a day. So as not to flood, because the inclination is to take lots of photos and upload them all in one go. I've done that before and people don't like it. So yeah, I'm gonna put a load of those photos in this video so you can see this is the kind of stuff I do. And why am I doing that here instead of on Benway's World, my Benway's World YouTube channel? Because this would be more appropriate for that channel. And the simple reason is I want more people to see it. Because I want more people to go and subscribe to my Instagram account, because I like taking photos and I like people looking at them, and I want as many people as possible to look at them. So if I put this onto Benway's World, fewer people would see it. Maybe the proportion of people who are interested would be higher, but nevertheless, more people. Yeah, so here comes a load of photos. I'll add some music to it if I can find something appropriate. I will probably add captions with the titles of the photos. Enjoy or not, you might look at these and think, what? Because a thing you will find with my photos is I don't do pretty. Some of them are quite pleasing to look at. In fact, I find them all pleasing to look at, but what I don't do is pretty. I'm not looking for scenic beauty. I'm not looking for picture postcards. I am looking for aesthetically pleasing within a potentially quite ugly setting. It's what I do. Yeah, okay. Thank you for watching up to this point, and thank you for watching in advance if you continue to watch. Still here? Cool. Right, so that is really just a brief taster of what you can find on my Instagram page. I've got a whole load of stuff still to upload, some stuff from Sheffield and a completely new batch. Oh God, drilling. Completely new batch that I shot in Worksop yesterday, which are the same but different in that there's a slightly different feel. They've got this same, I don't know how to describe it, I say about this thing that I do. It's all about the geometry and the lines and the way they flow, or things obstruct your view or whatever, and the way I frame the images. There's more of that, but the colour ones are more vibrant and the black and white ones are more, there's a level of detail in some of them that is pretty, well, pleased me no end. Probably in this video I don't think the detail is going to come out too well, and sadly on Instagram as well, they're just, the pictures are small. I prefer Flickr. I used to use Flickr a lot, but since it's been taken over by some other company, it's rubbish, and in fact broken. The last time I tried to upload stuff, it just didn't want to know. So I'm using Instagram. But what is my goal with this in the end? I think initially it's just put lots of pictures on there, try and get lots of people to see them, because kind of in the same way as on YouTube, my audience grew slowly and organically to the point that companies were saying, hey, would you like to review stuff? I sort of hoped that I could get enough exposure on Instagram that something might come of it. I have no idea what. I don't exist in the world of photography and photographers and whatever it is that they do, but it would be nice to be able to develop it into something. I don't know what. I mean, I love the idea of being able to sell prints or do an exhibition or both, but you know, that's looking a long way ahead, I think. For the moment, I'm just going to keep taking pictures of stuff that I like, the way I like doing it, upload them, see what happens. Primarily I'm doing it because I love doing it. Anything that comes out of it, if anything at all, bonus. I will be doing it even if no one goes along and looks. You know, it's art, and it's art for art's sake, not money. Okay, that will do. Thank you for watching.